feeling cold against your skin. Running through the chaos, letting all the sin. Temptation in a bottle, ready for the night. Craving for the thrill, it's time to ignite. Dark desires burning bright, echoes in the dead of night. No retreat, no looking back on this heart attack.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are you on this Monday night? It is good to be back. Good to see you all after not a day off as such, a day off from streaming yesterday, but not really a day off for me. This Jody Hill trial is sort of coming to the pointy end of everything right now, and because we lost 2 days last week of trial days, they're they're sort of not panicked, but they just sort of want to get stuff done because next Friday, I believe, is the very last day that the Supreme Court is open for trials and court matters. So they will be shutting down for Christmas break next week. And I think they're sort of butting up against the timeline right here, and they sort of want to get the jurors into deliberations and give them as much time as possible, you know, you don't want to rush them or have some sort of artificial time limit on it. You know, they can have as long as they like. So I don't know how that works. Would they come back in January? I don't know. But I think they want to give them as much time as humanly possible for the jury to come to a decision. So it's been a little hectic, and then we had something occur at the end of the trial today. I can't tell you what it is. All I can tell you is that they're just some court events that I wanted to stick around and watch and just, you know, sort of not leave early. So that's why I was a few minutes late, because the more information I have, the better job I can do to tell you the story when we have a verdict. So the Jody Hill trial continues, and I don't think we're that far away from jury deliberations, maybe like a few more days or something like that. They're currently doing closing statements. So prosecution's been on all afternoon doing her closing address to the jury, and I expect that'll continue for a period of time, and then the defense will have their go, and then we'll get the judge's charge to the jury from Justice Dixon is the justice doing this trial, and then they'll be into deliberations. So it is coming to an end, and I can't wait to tell you about it. I can't wait to tell you about this trial. It's been not as long as Aaron's trial. It's not been as long as Aaron's. It's been about, what, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that. It's not been quite as long, but it's still been a very full trial. There's been a lot going on. There's been DNA experts, there's been fingerprint experts, there's been blood splatter experts like in Dexter, and then we've had, what else we've had? We had the defendant, Jody Hill. She testified in her own defense, which is interesting because we saw that with Aaron earlier this year, and we just saw it in this one as well, with Jody Hill taking the stand to testify for her own defense, which is very interesting. Yeah, I will tell you more about it probably next week. I think next week. So there you go. If you're wondering where I've been, that's where I've been. I've been doing all of this. So yeah. All right. I think that's done. All right, we're in here. So I want to talk to you. We've got a few different topics to talk about tonight. Another trial in Australia came to a head today. A sentence was handed down for a case that had sort of gone to trial once before, didn't come to a conclusion, went to trial again, and this time they actually got a verdict, and the person responsible has been sentenced to 25 years to life in jail. I'll bring you that one in a minute. But first, I want to talk to you about this missing person from Rutgers. And they're saying here Morty Wortman is the missing person, and there's a bit of a background to this. They're saying the last person to see the missing Rutgers student, Morty Wortman, before he disappeared, was at Ocean County courthouses on Monday for a hearing. And they're saying here that Adam Zaluk's appearance was not related to Wortman's disappearance. They're saying Adam was scheduled to stand trial before a judge in answer to charges that back in July he allegedly threatened the missing person with a knife, rammed the rear of the vehicle of the victim, and vandalized it. They're saying here, however, the hearing in Toms River was postponed by the judge without further explanation. They say it was disappointing to relatives of Morty who have been searching the woods of Jackson Township for Morty for 17 days. He's 22 years old, lives with his family in Jackson, and was last seen on CCTV surveillance getting in a car with Adam at a parking lot late at night on November 21. But they're not related, right? Not related. Missing person, another person on trial for things they did to the missing person. Last seen with that defendant, and now we have a guy missing. Basically, a victim. A victim is missing, and they were last seen with their perpetrator. All seems a little strange. All seems a little weird. Let me play you this video from News 12 in New Jersey, and we'll talk a bit more about it.
Morty Wortman has been missing for over 2 weeks now. Today, growing more frustrated, his family is calling for the arrest of the last person to see him back on November 21st. That person, Adam Zaluk, was in court today in Toms River for threatening Wortman's life back in July. News 12 New Jersey's Chris Keating has more on the case from Ocean County.
For 17 days, the family of Morty Wortman has been searching these woods for the Rutgers student. But for the first time, that family left this wooded area in Jackson Township in search of answers elsewhere. Today, the family gathered at the Ocean County courthouse. Morty Wortman's brother, mother, relatives, and friends all showed up at the Ocean County courthouse wanting to hear from this man, Adam Zaluk, seen here in a mugshot. They believe that he is responsible for Morty's disappearance. They have learned that Zaluk was with the Rutgers student the night he disappeared.
Absolutely, 100%. We are all convinced that he has something to do with it. Our family wants an arrest. We want him to be arrested. And this is another day he's walking away free.
Morty's family was disappointed because at the last minute today, the court hearing was postponed by a judge with no explanation. Today's hearing was not about Morty's disappearance. Rather, it was related to an incident back in July when Zaluk allegedly threatened Morty with a knife in Point Pleasant Beach and then vandalized his car. Meanwhile, family members have been told that Morty was last seen on surveillance video on November 21st at the Regional Day School in Jackson Township. He was getting into Zaluk's car in the parking lot late at night. Since then, police have been searching surrounding woods. On Saturday, in fact, the New Jersey State Police led a search 260 people strong over 1,200 acres, but they found nothing.
Praying that we find something. There's nothing out there that says Kai was out there. Nothing.
Relatives have been told that Zaluk is being cooperative with police, but they believe otherwise.
They're taking Adam's word, the defendant's word, which is just throwing me off so much because Adam has the most motive of anyone to do something.
I think that Adam's lying and he's free, and there's something wrong with that.
Adam Zaluk left the courthouse without speaking with us. The Ocean County prosecutors only said that they are investigating. In Jackson Township, I'm Chris Keating, News 12 New Jersey.
So your key victim in a trial has gone missing. Last seen with the defendant. And it's not connected, huh? Seems a little odd. And, you know, like, who else could you be looking at as a suspect in this one? I mean, I'm sure Morty probably wanted to see some sort of retribution, an apology, justice, all those type of things for what was done to him. And Adam was going to go on trial for it. It reads like a Saturday night thriller on HBO. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of like one of those crime movies that you see on HBO where there's like a witness in a murder trial and they go missing and they're like, oh, it's definitely the defendant, and it seems like something ripped straight from that. And he's been missing a long time. Missed Thanksgiving with his parents 17 days ago. 17 in Jackson Township. I want to see if we can get that surveillance footage. Let me have a look. If we can get Morty, sorry. Let's see. Morty, CCTV. Did they give that out to the public? Yeah, let me have a look at something, guys. Not the CCTV, but they're saying here, what do we know for sure? Wortman, Morty from Jackson, New Jersey is missing, last seen 21st of November 2025. Actually, that was before Thanksgiving. So yeah, he's been missing for quite a while. His car was seen parked at the regional day school in Jackson. He was seen on film getting into Adam's car behind the regional day school. That comes from police. Adam assaulted Morty back in August and threatened his life with a knife. Court date was scheduled for the 8th of December, which is today. Morty had a no contact order against Adam, and according to friends and family, was terrified of Adam. According to friends and family, Adam would sit outside Morty's house and stalk him. Adam reported Morty missing 16 hours after he seen him last and went with his dad to the station for questioning. Adam claimed that Morty was sitting in Adam's car on his iPad. A notification came up that made Adam upset. They got into a verbal dispute. Morty walked out of Adam's car towards the woods of Collier's Mills. Don't you find it strange that when there's these people that seem to just walk away from situations and they're never found again? It happens all the time. They're like, oh, she just left the house. Didn't take any of her belongings, but just left and disappeared. Same with this. They were sitting in the car together and suddenly Morty just left, just decided to leave the car and disappear into thin air. Doesn't sound kosher. Does not sound kosher. Doesn't sound right. Why would he walk out of Adam's car in the first place? I'm confused why he met up with Adam at all if he was supposed to go to trial this week to face charges. Well, not him, Adam was. But why would they meet up at all a few days or a few weeks before this court is supposed to be underway? It just all seems a little messed up. And yeah, I really wish we had that CCTV. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if they ever released it to the public. Let's have a look. Um, I don't see it. I don't see any CCTV. All right, Morty. Yeah, I don't see that, unfortunately. They must not have given it out to the public. So apparently he was cops have released this. All right. They did do that? Okay. So This is Leicestershire Police. This is not the same one. This is a different missing person. Okay. Hold on, guys. Yeah, I don't see it. So that's annoying. I don't know why they would not release that if they wanted to show people the last time. This is from a different story. I can tell you about it in a minute, but it's from a different story. You can tell it's Leicestershire Police on the top, so it's from the UK, not from New Jersey. Let's see. Rutgers students are saving a car. Strange. I would have thought that would have been put out. Here's some photos of Morty right here for you. What a nice looking young man. They're saying here, student was last seen on November 21 in the wooded area near Highbridge Road in Jackson, New Jersey. Okay, where is Highbridge Road? Let's have a look. Oh yeah, that doesn't look suspicious at all. Here, I'm going to show it to you. Look at this. So this is the regional school right here, where apparently they were, where Adam got picked up from, or sorry, Morty got picked up by Adam and was in his vehicle. But look at this when I zoom out. And you're telling me he walked into this area. Look at this. I mean, look at the search terrain trying to find him if you are to believe Adam's story. Look at the wooded area. Seems awfully convenient that the person that you're supposed to be going to trial or going to court for as a defendant suddenly disappears in like a giant forested area. It's it's like the perfect area for someone to go missing. Look at this area. What is here? An airport. The closest thing to it is an airport. Is it military? Hangar number 10. AASF. I don't know what that means. What airport is this? Lakehurst, maybe? Lakehurst? There's two. There's one there. There's another strip over here. So maybe military. So yeah, picked up behind that school and somehow never seen again. Get off. Here we go. Let me see if we can get down on the road level. Oh, we can't even get down on the road level? That's weird. Why does Google Maps not go Highbridge Road for some reason? Yeah, it won't let us go down that road. That's weird. Let's see if we can go down it this way. Nope. Why can you not go down there? What does that say? Unpaved road, no throughfare. So it's saying that you can't go all the way through. Looks like you can on the map. I don't know if that's possible. I haven't driven it. So this is the road right here. It looks like something out of a horror movie. It looks like something out of like I said, a Netflix documentary. Look at that. It's a very strange place to like meet this person and suddenly they go missing. Yeah, nothing there. It's like very odd. So there's Tom's River. So there's Tom's River's road right there. And the school's at the back. Do they have a front entrance down here? Let's have a look. We'll go down the road a bit. Is that the school? Right there. Vocational Technical School. I don't think so, but the other one's called like Regional School. Let's see if we can go back here. I don't think it's the same one, but it's not far away from it. So it doesn't look like the other school you can get to from this road. Wait, what does that say? Need a job, learn a skill. Okay, well, that's good advice. Let's go further down. What does that say? Regional school. Okay, so the other way you must be able to access it is down here. Google, what is wrong with you? We can't go down this one either? What is going on? I've never seen this before where you can't go down roads. This one is paved. This one is a paved road. It's not private property, is it? That's very odd. Okay, well, apparently there's an entrance to the regional school down here. Regional day school. Okay. So maybe it is private property or something. Because Google will not let us go down there. But it's down there somewhere. Hey Texas, how are you? Kelly said restricted areas are not allowed on Google Maps, military sensitive sites. I've seen military sites on Google before. All right, let's keep going. Strange and a very odd area for, this last meeting between the pair of them. Let me see what else we can dig up. Let's go to like local news. Hyper local. Let's go to New Jersey 105, whoever that is. 101.5. What do they have to tell us about Morty? They said a friend seen picking him up isn't helping the investigators on the case. Really? Really? They're saying township police worked with county and state law enforcement to search the area around Highbridge Road, an entrance to the 12,000-acre Collier Mills Wildlife Management Area along Route 571. Jersey Shore Online reported that Morty is a commuter student at Rutgers, New Brunswick. His brother Ivan told News 12 that his car was left at Regional Day School. Surveillance video recorded him getting into a friend's car around 10:30 p.m. It's very late at night to be at the school. His brother said the friend has not helped the investigation. Okay, let's have a look. They have a GoFundMe page. They've raised $20,000 to help find Mortimer. And there's the photo we used on the thumbnail. Okay, not a lot of details in the GoFundMe, just that Mortimer was reported missing on Friday, November 21, last seen in the Collier Mills Trails in Jackson, New Jersey. Collier Mills Trails. Let's have a look. Was that where we were on that road? Okay. Yeah, that definitely shows sort of around that area we were at. Around here. Collier Mills. How far away from that is that from that school area? Well, there's that airport. Okay, so it is that area. It's all this sort of bushland that we were looking at before. Collier Mills WMA Pond Access. So it's like a giant wildlife preserve. That's what this area is. Not a place you'd like to be going missing in. I think this would have, I don't know, what kind of animals live in New Jersey, except for the Jersey Shore animals, the ones on that show. I don't think they live out in the wilderness, or I think they live at the gym, at the tanning place, and at the laundry. Let's see, they've also got a rifle range, Jersey Central Rifle and Pistol. So it's like a shooting range nearby. I don't think it's got anything to do with it, but it is one of the places nearby the search area. All right, what else do we know? They're saying here, anyone with information is asked to contact Jackson Police at 732-928-1 The Ocean County Prosecutor's Office and Rutgers University Police are also investigating the disappearance of their student. What are they saying here? Okay, we don't need to know about that. That is something else. Mortimer, only 22 years old. Let's see if we can find one other source of information. 4 hours ago from News 12, what are they giving us an update on? So apparently his family is calling on the police to arrest Adam over the disappearance of Morty. I think that might be a good idea. You know, where do we go in these type of investigations? We always go back to the last person to see them alive. And it just seems so suspicious that the last person to see them alive in that giant wooded area, you know, and suddenly Morty just ran out of his car. It just seems a bit fanciful. It doesn't seem like something real. Let's see, Jersey Shore Online. Let's see what details they have. They're saying here, they say this matter remains under investigation. Every available investigative tool is at our collective disposal. Police have repeatedly searched the wooded preserve, and officers were again canvassing the area in recent days. A large law enforcement presence returned to Collier Mills on December 6th as the search expanded. Multiple agencies, including the New Jersey State Police, the Jackson PD, and Manchester PD, assisted by the prosecutor's office, which is leading the investigation. They're saying the nature preserve spans more than 12,000 acres. Jeez. Let's see here. What was kind of his point? Yeah, they're just saying that Adam is not cooperating with investigators. Not normally a good sign. So if you know anything about Morty, I really wish I had more to tell you about Morty, but there's not that much more to tell you. This is sort of what they've given the media. So according to his brother, absolutely 100%, we are all convinced that Adam had something to do with it. Our family wants an arrest. We want him to be arrested, and this is another day he is walking away free. That is true. They're saying here, Morty's mom, Joanna, has been in the woods every day looking for her son. That is harrowing. The fact that she's out there every day looking for her child. And they're saying here, she said she has never met Adam and says she believes he was stalking her son. Damn, it doesn't sound good, right? You have stalkers, a court case. It sounds like a recipe for homicide. It really does. It sounds like maybe Adam wanted to make his problems disappear. You know, court was coming up on Monday, the 8th of December, and he wanted to make that go away. Well, it seems like now, instead of maybe a harassment and battery charge, he may get a homicide charge to his name and have to go to a big boy trial. He may have to go to like the Supreme Court and hang out with all the other people involved in very horrible crimes. It definitely sounds like something shady is going on. I don't believe this kid would just run off into the middle of the wilderness for no reason. I don't understand why Morty would do that. And it seems like whatever happened, he was very scared. Maybe he didn't know Adam was going to be at this location. I don't understand why he would meet up with him when there was a court case pending. It doesn't sound right. There's something here we're not being told. Because if you have charges taken out against someone, you're going to go to court for it in December. 3 weeks before you go to court, you meet up with them in a dark car park on a wooded road. where there's like nothing for miles around it. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. It seems like we're not being told something that's connecting this together. Let's see. I just want to check one other place. Let's open this. Here is his missing person poster for you too. There's a bunch of different types of photos on there too. And there's a QR code. There you go. If you need to report something, QR code right there on the screen. So there's a few different other photos of him. What else do we know? Um, hmm. A lot of people saying that they have been on like social media or maybe dating type apps, and they have seen Morty on there in the past and have talked to him. So he's somewhat well known around the area. Seems to have a lot of acquaintances and friends and people that know him. When I looked up one of the threads for Morty, there was a whole bunch of young people that were all like, "I know Morty. Hey, I matched with him on one of the apps or something, and we chatted for a while." So, it seems like he's very well known, and Lisa said there are people in Web Sleuth's chat that don't know who you are. I told her to advertise you want to get on. It's fine. I appreciate it though. All right, that's it. If I hear any more about Morty, I'll let you know. But that sounds like it's about it. I hope they find him or they can get Adam to talk a bit more. I don't know why he's not in custody. It seems like a very 2+2 situation. I know that's not how life works in general, but it doesn't seem right. All right, I'm going to take you to a different story. Man arrested after hitting wife for preventing him from driving drunk. So his wife was trying to stop him from drink driving, and he decided to physically abuse his wife. What a great guy. They're saying this is in Carolina, Spartanburg. So we've been to Spartanburg before, and I thought I'd bring it to you. Here we go. Here's a photo of him right here. Uh, DeSantos is his name. Arrested. Oh, they only got the photo. Good work, Fox. There you go. Third degree domestic DV. That's what he was arrested under here. I'll read it to you. They're saying police arrived at a home on Boxwood Lane after 3:50 p.m. and spoke with a woman who said her husband, Michael DeSantos, was intoxicated and had threatened her after she smoked his last cigarette. What? They're saying here she reported that he was angry because she wanted him to go to a rehab facility and that he tried to hit her but missed, likely due to past strokes. So he's had strokes before. They're saying, according to the report, the man denied threatening or trying to hit his wife. They explained he was angry with her for drinking his alcohol and using his cigarettes and denying him access to either. Police said that he tried to stand several times but was unable to, either from alcohol or the past strokes that he had. They're saying his wife did not wish to press charges and was not in fear for her safety at the time, according to police. Police responded to a neighboring home on Boxwood Lane after 5:02 p.m. in reference to an assault. Upon arrival, his wife reported that she had grabbed the car keys to drive and buy her husband cigarettes when he hit her in the nose, causing it to bleed. She had bruising and redness on her face. Officers said that upon returning to the family home, they found him with a heavy smell of alcohol on his breath. DeSantos claimed that his wife took his car keys to prevent him from buying cigarettes, though police told him that she was preventing him from driving impaired. After admitting to hitting her, police noted blood on his knuckles and on the floor leading to the kitchen. He was charged with third-degree DV and booked into the Spartanburg County Detention Center, where he is currently awaiting a bond hearing. He sounds like a lovely guy. I hope this sort of break in normal life for the wife and Michael might do something. I think she needs to get out of here. Michael needs a lot of help. That's what Ping thinks. Michael needs he needs something. Help. He needs for his wife to get away from him. I mean, sounds like a great life they live together. If they're not fighting over cigarettes, they're fighting over alcohol. And if they're not fighting over alcohol or cigarettes, they're fighting over driving while impaired. They just, it seems like one of those situations where they both seem to be in a very toxic situation. One, because they both seem to have a drinking issue. Two, because due to that constant impairment and probably looks like alcohol addiction, there seems to be a lot of infighting, and now he's become physical and violent with her. So now it's a domestic violence situation. It's just not going to get any better unless they keep these two away from each other and try and get both of them get help. Him, jail sounds good. Her, psychologist maybe, and maybe like rehab for her too. They both just need to reassess their lives together. Trauma bonded, they could be. It doesn't sound good either way. Um, third degree DV after punching her in the face, possibly breaking her nose, to the point where there was so much blood on the floor that the cops could follow it into the kitchen. I mean, what a lovely individual Michael is. Michael DeSantos. I wonder if he's related to the politician at all. Let me see if we can find anything else about him. 68-year-old Michael DeSantos. Let's have a look. No, I can't really find too much more else about him. I'm guessing we won't get a picture of her because of protection, that they try to protect her. Yeah, let's go here. Yeah, there you go. There's a better photo of him. Charming guy. I hope he gets the help he needs and some jail time. And I hope she, with the break of him not being constantly around, realizes that there is more to life than being beaten up and drinking alcohol, and is able to get some help. SP1 said, my kids bleed like that. Always looks like a murder took place at 2 a.m. with bloody noses. But in an adult, nope, that's abuse. Yeah. Yeah, it seems like a very awful end to the story for her, the most part, but hopefully, I'm hoping the time apart may snap her out of it. Sometimes that's all they need is just time away from each other. And then they suddenly realize that, oh, my life doesn't have to be like that. And maybe the chance of him not being around will give her the opportunity to flee. That would be a good idea. All right, I'm going to take you to... We've got a few stories to catch up on. Let's go here. If I can get this story working. So we're going to Wilmington. A lot of stories out of there. We've done a lot of stories out of Wilmington. All right. Fox News, Fox 7. Infant's remains found buried in beer box in Chicago suburb, 2 in custody. Now, I read about this story. There's a man and a woman. The woman's name's Nicole, the guy's name's William. They admitted the baby was born in a toilet. They attempted to dispose of the body down a drain and later buried the infant on Roberts Road in a beer box. Now, according to some of the information I have, when they attempted to dispose of the baby down a drain, they used a toilet plunger to try and make the child go down the drain. Really, that's not a joke. That's for real. The autopsy determined the infant was 22 weeks to 27 weeks in age. Both suspects are charged with desecration of a corpse with additional charges possible. What a I'm surprised people just think that's the right idea to do with not just babies, but adults. We heard of a story the other day where a guy, if you believe his story, when his wife died of natural causes, his first instinct was to dismember her and put her in the trash, not call an ambulance. They're saying here the 36-year-old woman had given birth and that the infant's remains were buried on the Roberts Road property marked by a makeshift headstone. I don't think that's the way you do things like that. I think you have to call a coroner and, stuff like that. They're saying at 9:15 a.m. on Friday, deputies detained several suspects. Crime scene investigators were called in. Working with detectives, they located the remains. Police said the body was found about 3 feet underground in what appeared to be an old-style beer box wrapped in plastic and cloth. Here's a photo of these two here. There's Nicole, and that is William. They have been charged with that desecration of remains. According to police, Nicole and William said the baby was born in a toilet at a home in the 400 block of North Street in Manhattan. They're saying that William allegedly attempted to dispose of the body by forcing it down the toilet drain with a plunger. When they realized that the infant's body, estimated to be between 5 and 7 pounds, could not fit down the drain, they left the remains in the toilet overnight. The pair told investigators they later removed the infant from the toilet, wrapped the remains in a plastic bag and a green shirt, and took the body to the Roberts Road residence. There they dug a hole roughly 3 feet wide and 4 feet deep and buried the child. It was a female baby and 22 to 27 weeks. And they're saying additional testing will be needed to find how the child died, as the level of decomposition was quite high. They are currently in custody and will appear in court at a later time. Terrible. What is wrong with people? You read these stories and you go, what the F is wrong with people? I mean, I know miscarriage and that is very traumatic. I don't think anyone's trying to say it isn't, but that doesn't sound like the right way of doing things. It doesn't sound like the right way of doing anything. Yes, you just go to the hospital, right? Go to the hospital with the baby. Yeah, it would be. I'm sure she's probably had a medical checkup. Yes. How terrible. I don't know what it was, Sean. Might be. No drugs charges. Laura T said, "What happened to calling 911?" I don't see anything about that. About a drug charge. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see anything about a drug charge between them. Let's have a look. Cole and William. Let's see if I can find anything on their background at all. Um, let's have a look. I don't see anything about that type of thing. Oh. The pair of suspects were transported to the Will County Adult Detention Facility on Saturday and will be given a notice to appear for an upcoming court date. They're saying officials described the offense as non-detainable. Well, why were they taken to the Will County Adult Detention Facility then? Sounds like they were probably released, actually. And it sounds like they will have to appear in court at a later time. I don't know how you get out of jail for that. Yeah, I can't see any of those additional type details about what their life might have been like, but sounds like the pair of them weren't making the best decisions at all. Yeah, it sounds like they're out. It sounds like they were given a notice to appear in court this week, and that's it. That's it. They're out of jail. SP Mom said they don't look like young parents. Yeah, they look like they're like 40 or something. That's true, Lisa. Rachel said, I don't understand that decision. Maybe hiding something, maybe drugs. Maybe they didn't want the remains tested of the child to know that she was doing illicit type things while she was pregnant. And maybe that led to the death of the child. That could be why. They don't want the remains being tested on. Let's see. I'll check one other place. They're saying here additional charges are possible though. So they are looking at maybe when that autopsy comes back complete, possibly laying more charges. So yeah, additional testing is pending right now. So we're gonna have to wait for that other testing to come back and see what it might say about what happened to that female child. All right, let me see. Kim said, "How were the remains found and tied back to them?" Let's have a look. No, that's the wrong story. That's three. I don't know. They just say here police learned on Thursday that an infant may have been buried on a property in the 1900 block of Roberts Road near Wilmington, according to the Will County Sheriff's Office. Detectives determined that a 36-year-old woman had given birth and that the infant's remains were buried on the property at Roberts Road. They don't say how they knew. They say sheriff's police obtained a search warrant for the site of the burial, but they don't say how they found out originally. Yeah. They say an autopsy was conducted Saturday at the Will County Coroner's Office. The pathologist determined the child's age, but they are awaiting more testing. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't say how they knew to go to this particular location. I'll try one more thing. Okay, maybe this might tell us.
And a woman in Will County facing charges tonight after police found an infant buried at a home. 36-year-old Nicole Pakshiva and 38-year-old William Cosman are accused of desecrating a corpse. On Thursday, Will County detectives learned Pakshiva gave birth to a baby in October of last year, and the two had buried the infant at a home in Wilmington. That's just southwest of Joliet. Yesterday, investigators found a shallow grave on Roberts Street there. Detectives dug up an old-style beer box wrapped in a plastic bag and cloth with the infant's remains inside. The Will County Sheriff's Office says more charges could be possible when the coroner's office performs an autopsy here.
Yeah, maybe they told someone, maybe someone noticed the burial on the road, like Roberts Road in Wilmington. Let's have a look. 1900 block of Roberts Road. Let's see if we can find anything about it. Uh-huh. They just say detectives with the Will County Sheriff's Office received information pertaining to the possible burial of a child. So someone definitely gave police a phone call. Yeah, here. This is the Will County Sheriff's Office, and they said here received information pertaining to a possible buried infant on a property in the 1900 block of Roberts Road in Wilmington. So yeah, it definitely sounds like someone informed authorities. Who? I don't know, but they do say they they talked with several people and arrested several people, but they only charged the two. So maybe people there, maybe they felt something was wrong, and maybe they were the ones who called it in. Uh, well, yes, that person is right that it could have been a miscarriage or something. They're saying here, let the condition remarkably handsome. Okay, so yeah, that's all we know. That's all we know. Yeah, I definitely think they told someone. 100%. All right. What else do we have? I want to talk to you about. Hold on. Books. Do you like to be mad about things like Ping does? I like to be mad about things. Um, Here, I'm going to let you be mad about something. I'm going to let you be mad about something. It seems like that time of the night. Here we go.
That may be confronting.
3 men jailed over the gang rape of 3 women during a Bucks weekend in Newcastle have had their convictions overturned on appeal. One of the trio has now been acquitted, with the appeal panel saying he's entitled to be released from prison immediately. Court reporter Jamie McKinnell joins me in the studio now for more on this. Hi there, Jamie. So just remind us about the details of this case. How did the appeals court reach this decision today?
Hey, Mel. Well, there were 2 brothers involved in this case, Maurice and Marius Howell, as well as their friend Andrew David. Now, those 3 men were convicted of multiple counts of aggravated sexual assault and aggravated sexual touching in company after they faced a joint trial in the New South Wales District Court. Now, their charges related to a February 2022 Bucks weekend where these 3 men went to Newcastle and stayed at an Airbnb, and across 2 nights they met 3 women, 2 18-year-olds and a 19-year-old, who were sexually assaulted in the Airbnb.
So, yes, this was a story that I did for you last year, and it was a Bucks party weekend. They had rented this Airbnb, and what they allegedly have to use alleged now, they're no longer convicted. Their convictions have been quashed, and they will go to a retrial. The third one, Maurice, his conviction was completely overturned, and he's out. He got freed yesterday. So I told you this story when it was in trial, and yeah. So they appealed the verdict, and they got it. They got their appeal, and they're going to be retried. So this was one of the most horrific stories I've ever heard of, and some of the details throughout this particular trial were harrowing, especially if you are a female. Some of the things that were said during the trial were probably some women's nightmare, literally. Chipmunk said, huge reason why so many women don't speak up. I know. I believe possibly they will have recordings of the evidence they gave at the first trial, and because it's a retrial, to save the victims the embarrassment and trauma of having to relive that at trial for a second time, that they possibly could show the recordings from the first trial. They tend to do that, especially with SA trials. They won't make the victim come and do it in person again. So I'm guessing that is probably what's going to happen. Hold on. I can bring you the legal reason why. Hold on. Yeah. So the three men had their convictions quashed on Monday morning, with the court ordering a retrial for Maurice and David had their retrial are being compelled to go to a retrial. Marius was acquitted of the convictions altogether and was available for immediate release. And they're saying here that the appeal panel ruled it was not open for the jury to find he was in the room for any of the alleged crimes. That was for just the Marius one. He's the one who walked free after the findings were handed down. And they're saying here the verdicts in respect to Marius were found to be unreasonable, subject to any other reason for his detention of which the court is unaware. Marius Howell is entitled to immediate release. In the case of Maurice and Andrew, there will be an order for retrials. However, whether these men are put to trial again will ultimately be a matter for discretion of the DPP. They're saying here, so the reason for the appeal was issues with directions given to the jury. So directions given to the jury are in the charge to the jury. That's that final step before the jury goes and deliberates. They're saying here several issues were identified in directions given to the jury which could have affected the jury's reasoning in significant respects, which included erroneous directions about the men's state of mind over the weekend. The men had also argued directions about the JCE were erroneous and confusing, particularly submissions the men had agreed to sexual touching, intercourse, activity, or assault with or without consent. These directions could have confused the jury, according to the Court of Criminal Appeal, upholding the trio's argument. So there you go. It was a technicality, basically, and it's because of that's why those judges take it so seriously when they do those charge to the jury, is because if they don't do it right, this can happen. They will appeal on it. They'll find something in the charge or directions to the jury, and this happens. So I don't know if there's any fault as such, but the judge writes their own directions to the jury, and I guess that's what you could say. I don't know if you would say it's their fault, but it's just what it is. Hold on, guys. All right, sorry about that. Gail said, if I'm one of the girls, I'm going after the judge for damages and the men. It's not a great thing. SP Mama says, makes me mad having been a victim of such things with no names and no recourse. I can only imagine how hard it is for them. Can they go after the judge? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think they can do anything like that. Yeah, I don't think you can sue the judge. I don't think that's possible. There's another one in Melbourne at the moment. There was one in Melbourne. A guy was convicted similar to this. There was a party at the home. There was some consensual activities taking place between two other people. After the male left the room, another male, the homeowner, went into the room and pretended to be the other guy and started sexually touching the girl, and then pretended to be his friend, like the guy who she had the consensual encounter with. His name is protected right now in Victoria. Um, we cannot give it out, and uh, basically, it's to protect her, but we can't say his name right now. So Neither of them can be identified through the media at this point in time, but he was convicted and is going to be sentenced shortly. It's not in Newcastle, it's in Victoria. This one happened in Newcastle, yeah. Montana said if the judge is elected, could campaign to get him thrown out. I don't think our judges are elected, are they? I think they're chosen. I think they're chosen from. I'm not sure how the judges works here or how their appointments work in Victoria. Something I should look into, but I'm not sure how that works. So yeah, there you go. They're saying here. So originally these guys were sentenced to pretty severe terms in jail. I think most of them were in the low to middle teens, like 13, 14 years in jail with like non-parole periods in the 7-8 year mark. And so they had very heavy sentences if they were to serve that jail time. Two of them now will go back on trial for most likely a retrial. We'll have to see what the DPP has to say about it. And then the third one he's had his conviction overturned, so I don't know if he'll see a courtroom ever again. Let's see. I just want to see if there was a better update from the DPP at all. Normally not. Normally the DPP takes a couple of months to review these type of things, and then they'll come out and say whether they want to go back to trial or not. Let's see. We'll go here. Yeah, there's a photo of the three of them from when they went to trial. And yeah, so it's been overturned. Two of them will go back to trial. And yeah, Maurice and Andrew, 31 years old, both of them, they will both go back to trial. The younger brother, Marius, will not go back to trial. And he will be freed if he hasn't already. So there'll be a retrial in the New South Wales District Court. And we'll have to wait and see. But here's sort of some of the things that happened that night. On the Friday night, after having consensual sex on a Friday night with two 18-year-old victims, after having consensual sex on Friday night, two 18-year-old victims told the jury they went to retrieve their phones from a darkened bedroom where they were pushed onto a bed, stripped naked, and swarmed by naked men. And they're saying outlining who performed which essay was impossible because the room was dark and the men were so convicted as part because the room was so dark and the men were convicted as part of a joint criminal enterprise to R-word and sexually touch the women. They say on the following night, a 19-year-old told the jury she entered the apartments after being pressured to join the group for drinks. But she was R-worded by Maurice and David, who took turns swapping sexual positions. Marius came into the room and watched, the jury was told, and was not accused of participating in penetrative, sex on the first night. And so there you go. There's a bit of just one paragraph of what happened at that trial, but there was a lot more that happened and came out. So that, yeah, pretty harrowing for the women. So it didn't just happen on one night. Allegedly, it happened on two different nights with on the first night, two different women. On the second night, one different woman. So 3 in total. Yeah, pretty awful. All right, I want to take you to another update in Australia. It's been a busy week for updates. There was a trial over the death of a woman called Toya, and her killer has been found guilty and has been sentenced. So I want to bring that to you. Let's go here. No. Yep, that's fine.
Accordingly. Today is a big piece of this journey that needed an ending, and most of all, justice for our Toya.
Her family never gave up, nor did the Far North. Billboards and bumper stickers, police appeals over and over, until finally detectives flew to India and brought Rajwinder Singh before a jury.
Hundreds of police were involved in this investigation who completed more than 3,000 investigative tasks, and the investigation saw the first ever $1 million reward granted.
For 4 weeks, the trial heard from more than 80 witnesses. It took the jury just over a day of deliberations to find Singh guilty of brutally murdering Toya Cordingley at Wangedi Beach on October 21, 2018. Her dad found her body and her dog tied to a tree.
Today's verdict has delivered a form of justice, but for us, there can never be true justice, as we now live in a world without Toya, and the world is a poorer place for it.
The 41-year-old nurse from Innisfail pleaded not guilty, claiming they had the wrong man.
As far as the person who committed this murder and inflicted a horrible death on our daughter, it will never be forgiven by us.
The courtroom erupted with cheers when the guilty verdict was read out, but Rajwinder Singh sat silently and looked blankly into the distance before being taken away. Relief, yet pain for the family, who now have answers.
We will never forget this lovable, innocent, full of life young woman, and we will always wonder what could have been if her life was not cut so short.
Singh will be sentenced tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
So he was sentenced today, and he's been sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 25 years in jail. So there's a photo of Toya there. They're saying here, sentenced to life in prison for the violent, brutal killing of the 24-year-old in 2018. Non-parole period, yeah. So he has to spend at least 25 years in jail, probably more. And yeah, found guilty. I think they held a different trial and it was didn't succeed. And on this one, it did, which is great news. They said here, so Justice Crowley said the only issue at the trial had been the identity of the person who murdered Toya, who he described as an animal lover. And there's a photo of Toya with a cat. So there's a nice photo of her. And they're saying that Toya had gone to Wangedi Beach to walk her dog and ended up being the victim of a sickening and violent crime. The fact that her father found her body is more pain to the act itself. And they're saying here, Justice Crowley said, given the vicious attack that transpired, it is quite possible that she discovered you there, engaged in some type of disgraceful, embarrassing activity at a secluded spot where your true self could emerge uninhibited. So they're basically accusing him of playing with his pineapple in public at the beach when Toya probably walked past and caught him doing that, and he attacked her. So that's what they are sort of hinting at. They're saying Justice Crowley said the obvious explanation for his shocking and sickening act of violence was that Toya challenged him over some behavior of a sexual and perverted nature. Given you took her mobile phone after you killed her, it raises the prospect that she may have recorded you or sought to tell authorities after catching you doing whatever you were doing. There you go. So she was stabbed to death, and that her heart had been damaged. Her heart, lung, and kidney were sliced with the knife, and they're saying here, but that she apparently, if she got help, she could have probably survived. They're saying the court heard the chest wounds in combination with the cut to her neck almost certainly caused her death. So it wasn't those wounds; it was the combination with the cut to her neck. Awful. They're saying here Toya fought back and fought for her life, but it was not an easy fight. Born out of the numerous defensive wounds she sustained to her fingers, hands, and forearm. So she tried to fight for her life. They're saying the defendant took flight like a gutless coward. You left without even saying a proper goodbye to your wife, your parents, your children, demonstrating your only concern was to save your own skin, regardless of the consequences for your family. So after he killed Toya, he fled the country, just took off and left and went to India, just up and left, like instantly, leaving his wife and children in the country and his parents, just wondering what happened to him. Just picked up all his stuff, went to the airport, and flew away from the country. And Justice Crowley says, took flight like a gutless coward. Your conduct offers some insight into the selfish and heartless individual you truly are. And I think that's a great way of describing that. They're saying his decision to remain in India while knowing he was wanted for murder prolonged the anguish of those who loved Toya and prolonged the administration of justice. Yeah, didn't even say goodbye to his wife or children before he left the country. There's a photo of the so-called coward that the judge said coward should be labeled in big red letters. That is exactly what he is, and murderer. That'd be another good one. They're saying during the trial, Justice Crowley said the evidence suggested there was a deeper, darker side to him, and that he had shown no remorse or taken any responsibility, instead seeking to blame others for his conduct, particularly the victim's boyfriend, Marco. He said Singh would likely present a continuing danger to the community, which needed to be protected from him. I think so too. So yeah, that is a good result. It is a good sentence. Life in jail would have been good too, with no parole. And yeah, but it is a good result. He will probably most likely die in jail. Most likely. And hopefully we never have to hear his name again. And instead we can celebrate this young lady's life and say her name more. So that would be a good thing. And I'm sure, considering all the efforts that have gone on in the area and across Australia to fundraise for her, have like a charity, get her name out there, get people's support, I'm sure that will continue. Yeah, he is a coward. Let me find another update for you.
Finally, justice for Toya Cordingley, her family and a community that never gave up hope.
It's not so much a great day or a day to celebrate for us. Today is a big piece of this journey that needed an ending, and most of all, justice for our Toya.
Rajwinder Singh, the prime suspect in a case that sent chills through far north Queensland, guilty.
You will never be forgiven by us. This event turned our world upside down for years, and we all know a special part of our fun, tight-knit family is now gone forever.
There can never be true justice, as we now live in a world without Toya, and the world is a poorer place for it.
It's 7 years since Toya's murder prompted an extraordinary public campaign.
Please don't give up.
Billboards, car stickers.
Please come forward. Please call Crime Stoppers.
Detectives went to India repeatedly with the mammoth task of looking for one man in a country with a population of more than 1.4 billion. 7 News was with them as they searched for the nurse. It would take 4 years, a public tip-off and $1 million bounty to find him.
So I think I read today too that bounty to get him and identify him and get him back to Australia was paid out, which is one of the very few I've ever heard being actually paid on. A lot of the time they put these forward and they never get the information they need to pay out the reward. But I'm pretty sure that it did succeed and it was paid out to multiple people who helped in trying to get him back to Australia, which is a new one for me because I don't hear very often that they actually pay them out. So that is great news, really great news. It works, obviously shows that it does work. And so it's a good initiative. Yeah. A record $1 million reward was offered by Queensland Police in late 2022 for information leading to the location and the arrest of the runaway suspect. They're saying weeks later he was arrested in New Delhi and was extradited to Australia and charged with murder in March of 2023. Queensland Police later confirmed the $1 million reward had been paid out to a number of people. That's great news. Without that reward, maybe he would never have been found. So that is great news. Yeah, I read about it the other day that it was not just one person, it was multiple. And I was thinking, you just don't hear that very often. I've heard very few times that they've actually paid those giant, you know, 1 million or $500,000 reward. I don't hear of them being claimed very, very often. So that is shows might not work for every case, but it does work sometimes. And you'll take sometimes over never. So that's great news. Let's see. Possibly. I think we've got one more story still to do. I think we've got one more for tonight. One more. Let's see what else I've got on my list of updates for you. I think that maybe that might be the last one. It might be the last one for tonight. Might be a bit of a short show tonight. Hold on. Just checking my list of links that we have. Okay. I'm going to take you out to Philadelphia, which another place we don't do a ton of stories of. But this story, 93-year-old was killed in an area called Logan, and the police are calling it suspicious, and his car is missing. They're saying police are investigating what they describe as the suspicious death of a 93-year-old man whose car and wallet were reported missing. Lafayette Daly was found inside his Logan home Friday afternoon with cuts to his head and chest. He was pronounced dead shortly after officers arrived. I will show you a photo of the 93-year-old. What an achievement he had getting to 93 and so brutally cut down. They're saying investigators are searching for his white 2007 Chrysler 300 with Pennsylvania license plate GRJ 5294 as they work to determine how he died and whether whoever has the car may be involved. His wallet and car key were also missing. And what a horrible crime. 93. Yeah, let's play the video.
Philadelphia police are now investigating what they call the suspicious death of a 93-year-old man last week. His car and wallet both missing. Lafayette Daly was found inside his Logan home on Friday afternoon with cuts to his head and chest. Tonight, investigators trying to track down a white Chrysler 300 as they work to figure out how he died and if whoever has that car could have been involved. Action News' Walter Perez live there at the scene tonight. Walter, those who knew Mr. Daly are absolutely stunned by this.
That's right, Brian. You couldn't find a single person to say a single bad thing about Mr. Daly. He truly was beloved in this community, and tonight police are working to determine exactly when he died and how he died.
He just was the best. That's all I can say. He was the best.
Deneen Dancy is talking about her godfather, 93-year-old Lafayette Daly, a man she says was among the last of his kind.
Definitely a man of God. He just was the best man, but he was a man's man. He taught my sons how to be men, and I'm gonna miss him. I love him, and I'm gonna miss him.
Tragically, Mr. Daly was found dead inside his home this past Friday evening. Police arrived on the scene where they found him unresponsive with lacerations to his chest and his head. He was pronounced dead a short time later. Investigators also determined that Mr. Daly's wallet, car key, and his vehicle were all missing. This is a photo of that vehicle described as a white 2007 Chrysler 300 with Pennsylvania tags GRJ 5294. People who knew and loved Mr. Daly say they are simply heartbroken.
Everybody loved him. You know, he talks to everybody when they pass. You know, he'll say hello and everything. Real nice guy.
He was a cool guy. He always spoke. He sat outside and talked to his neighbors and go back in the house and just mind his own business.
He didn't deserve that. And whatever they took, he would have gave it to them if they asked for it. You know, they would have, if they would have asked, he would have been like, oh, okay, here.
How can you do that to a 93-year-old man? Like, I can't even imagine making it to 93. And this guy did it. Imagine all the decades and world events that he saw, Mr. Lafayette Daly. He probably saw so many things that we couldn't even imagine being 93. I think that's a travesty what happened to him. And I hope they were able to track down where his car is and who killed him. Obviously, the wounds to his body tell a story. Sounds like someone attacked him, probably broke into his home, is what I'm thinking. Probably to take the vehicle. Let's see. I've got another photo of him too. Here's another photo of him right here. There's a photo of him. What else do they say here? Neighbors say the situation is disturbing because Daly was well known in the community and lived alone. Detectives are asking nearby residents to check home security cameras and report anything unusual they may have noticed. You can call 215-686-TIPS to remain anonymous and give them any information you might know about what happened to Mr. Daly. And they're saying here detectives have described the circumstances as suspicious. Yeah, I'm sure someone may have seen his car around. I'm not sure how many Chrysler 300s from 2007 in white are sort of rolling around Philadelphia, but I don't suspect there would be a million of them. I would suspect that maybe there's only a couple of hundred maybe. I know that sounds like a lot, but I wouldn't suspect there was a billion of them. So if you need to know what the car looks like, I will show you a photo. This is what they look like. And let me get a better photo actually. So that's sort of what they look like. Pretty cool looking car. Pretty cool looking car for a 93-year-old anyway. Yeah, I mean, he was still dancing at 93. Yeah, I definitely think he kept his car in good condition, like he kept himself. Yeah, he definitely looked like a hell of a guy. Still dancing, still driving by the sounds of it. I don't have any more. Yeah, I don't have any more information on him, unfortunately. Let me see. Lafayette. Yeah, I don't, unfortunately, being that it's a very localized Philadelphia story from Logan, there's not a lot online about him. And because he's 93, he doesn't have social media. Let's see. Good work, Ping. Wrote the wrong word. Yeah, yeah, we watched that one. Wish there was more about him online, but there's really not very much. It seems like, yeah, it's very, very hyper local type of case. There's only one news story that I can find, and it's this one, the one that we listened and watched. He's very snappy dresser. Look at that. I love this. Look at the way he dresses. Look at those shoes. He was very smart dresser, even at 93. So if you know anything, I guess, if you see that car anywhere, call it in. Here, let's try and put that car. They had a photo of the vehicle parked out front of his house. That's not a very good photo, but that's sort of what it looks like. What was that license plate again? GRJ 5294. And that looks like the vehicle parked outside of his home. Why him? Why that car? That is a question we need to know. Because there's hundreds of cars parked around Philadelphia. Why that one in particular? Why would you want a Chrysler 300 from 2007? Is it because the 93-year-old is an easy target, maybe? Could be. I don't know why you'd want to attack him. But hey, his wallet and car key for the vehicle were missing as well. Let's see. Sorry, that's a different story. All right. Yeah, I don't see any updates. If I do get an update on Mr. Daly, I will let you know. But so far, there is none. So it could be gone by now. Yeah, you might be right. I mean, they may be burnt. They may have got rid of it. They may have chopped it up already. Maybe it's spare parts somewhere. I'd hope not, but I'd say it's someone who knew he lived alone and knew it was an elderly guy. That's what I think anyway. All right. That's it for tonight, guys. A bit of an early night tonight. I am trashed from a long day doing this trial, but I'll be back tomorrow. I don't think tomorrow is going to be as extensive, but yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. All right. I love you all. Hey, thanks to Sean for sending in a donation. I feel like everyone's just forgotten about the channel over the last couple of months. And Sean's the last one left. I love you all. See you tomorrow. Bye.